folks. It's Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. Hope you're doing well. Kind of felt like playing a little bit. Kind of hadn't played all week. This particular tune is called Rakin' and Scrapin', and it's by Harold Mayburn, who was one of my teachers for many years at William Patterson College in Wayne, New Jersey, although it's now William Patterson University at Wayne, New Jersey. Still Wayne, New Jersey, but I went from college to university. It used to be a little teaching college, a little hole in the wall, and then it became really one of the world's, if not the world's preeminent school to learn how to play jazz. And at the time, the head of that department was Rufus Reed. And actually, that's not true. It's not 100% true because it was a gentleman named Marty Criven, I'm pretty sure, who was a very nice man, who was a clarinet player and a very good photographer. And but Rakin' and Scrapin' by Harold Mayburn, you can look it up. And the story behind the title, as Harold told me, was that pretty sure it was a story about his father, who was a manual laborer and was just raking and scraping and trying to get by and trying to make ends meet, and but trying to save up enough money to buy, in his words, a doll for a little girl. So yeah, it's kind of I think Harold kind of described himself really more as a blues piano player, and that's kind of the foundation of a lot of jazz is blues. And what constitutes blues is a little bit hard to put into words, but since I'm supposed to be giving a lesson and teaching, you know, that sound that we're listening to, that was not really major and not really minor. It kind of floated between the two, which is really what jazz is about. Jazz is sort of unusual in that way. You know, sometimes it's just hard to pin down. Whether you're playing in a major or minor key, you're kind of in the cracks, really. And this particular scale, I happen to be in the key of G. That was the key that Harold wrote it in, but you can see it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is five note scale, being the pentatonic scale. I'll write it up here so I can stay in the staff. G, B flat, C, D, F, and G. G, B flat, C, D, F, and G. So that is a minor pentatonic. And for some reason, it ends up sounding major. That's the juxtaposition of the major third and the minor third, but and these 11 chords, this kind of stacked sound where you have a G in the bass, let's say, and then you have I forgot how to write chords. F with like G in the bass. So, but it was a blues. It's basically what we did is we played a blues, and it wasn't really a minor blues, because a minor blues the minor would be the tonic and the subdominant would be minor. So I'll use the bass clef, but in a minor blues, G, B flat, D, and F natural. So that's G minor 7. We're not really playing playing F over G, and then the C7 chord, C, almost kind of low, isn't it? C, E, G, B flat, C, E, G, B flat, G, B, D, F. It's really G7, but we're kind of adding that, and then the 5 chord, the 5 chord is really D7, but it's really, you have this D7, it's a sharp 5, D7 sharp 5. But why did I write flat and sharp? That was weird. And likewise here, you get that B flat over C sound. You get that. It's really more like C11 and G11. And why did I write a sharp when I meant 11? I think I'm a little tired, that's all. Oh, this note here, right here. That's the sharp 9. That's actually E sharp. D7 sharp 5 sharp 9. So I guess we'll write like D F sharp A C, right? That's D F sharp A C. That's the D7. And but then we end up with the E sharp. I'll try to write it over here. Leave some space. C, D, E sharp, which is the same note as F, right? And then and this guy, which is A sharp. And one of the things you probably don't want is you don't want to play the 5th against the sharp 5. That's really not going to work very well. But that sharp 5, which is also called a flat 13. Oh, big sneeze there. One more. Oh, excuse me. That sound. So I'm playing the 5th in the bass. It works down there because they're far enough apart. But if you start getting too close, it's not going to be so great. But that's all right. I'm not so sure I like that. You notice me, sometimes I explore different sounds because I really don't know what sound I precisely want, But this pentatonic sound, and this sound, that's a chordal harmony where you're stacking fourths, G, C, F, B flat, D. So these are all fourths, and this is a third on top. Kind of a Steely Dan sound. And there's this sound. So it's like F major 7 with G in the bass. Or I'll play a G chord, but I'll play a minor chord a whole step higher, which is really the same thing. So that's F major 7 with G in the bass. This is A minor 7 with G in the bass. And if I can kind of flip the script, and well, I could play E flat, E flat over F. But let me write those out so you can kind of see those a little better. But those are some tricks. If you just see a chord that says G7, right? If you see a chord that just says G7, and that would ordinarily be G, B, D, F, you can kind of play the minor 7 chord a step up. So you have A, C, E, and G. A, C. Is that right? No. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Chief. Here we go. A, C, E, G. A, C, E, G. You guys remember Get Smart with Don Adams? Sorry about that, Chief. But I wouldn't play all those notes necessarily. I'd get rid of some of those because it just sounds too dense. And in fact, you really don't want the third of the chord if you're playing the 11. Or sometimes I'll kind of, I have this common tone on the top. That's another idea. G minor on top of the F7, and then A minor on top of the G. And you can double those notes. Or you can do harmonies. But it's very kind of Asian sounding. Oh, I know why. It totally dawned on me. I know why I have this in my head today, because I visited. We're going to put the top on this. It's going to dry up. You don't want a dry pen, because a dry pen does not make for good. Oh, here it is. Good marking. It's a mark against you. How's that for a pun? I went to the Chinese Garden in Portland, Oregon today. It was one of my relatives' birthday. I am a caregiver for a relative who is the brother of my significant other, who is 93 now. And we had a good time, but he loves, he's an artist as well, and he loves just beautiful proportion and detail and light. And so that's what this place is like. It's an actual home of, I guess, they describe it as a scholar's home, a Chinese scholar's home. And I forget precisely what year it was built. It was hundreds of years ago in China. Portland has a sister city. And they brought this structure over completely. Every little stone, there's mosaics on the ground. I mean, it's really intricate. They brought the entire thing over. Chinese laborers came and reconstructed it. And you feel transported into China. And I can say that with some authority because I did visit China. And it's really remarkable, just exquisite flowers and plant life and reflecting pools and ponds and trees. And maybe they were playing, I don't know if they were playing some Asian music or not. I thought I'd heard some, but it's that kind of, that sort of Asian sound. And I don't know why it's associated with the blues in some way, in some odd way. I guess the blues kind of comes, it obviously comes from African music, but how far away is African music from Asian music? I don't know. It seems like there are a lot of cultures that use some kind of pentatonic scale. And, oh yes, so listening to this pentatonic scale, and there was something that invokes nature. There you go. There's something that invokes nature in the pentatonic scale and is less about the human condition and more about the universality of life itself. And so maybe that's really what the blues is about. It's this life force that perpetuates and maybe sometimes struggles. And and persists regardless of what's going on around it. It's been here before we were here. It'll be here after we're here, and we can channel it in a sense and tie into it. And so those kinds of sounds I associate with the blues. And I sat next to Harold for a lot of years just listening to him play and kind of feeling that energy and sort of remembering what that was like. It wasn't so much, you know, when you're around these people, say these people, people with something to say, you know, whether you like them, you don't like them, they have something to say and they want to say it. And, you know, I think that's healthy. That's very healthy. But it's not so much about the notes as much as this forthrightness to say something. And I think whatever you do, whatever you play, there should be this directness. That's one of the nice things as you get older, hopefully, you become a little more forthright. I don't mean like grumpy old man that sends soup back at a deli, but I mean unapologetic, not obnoxious, but straightforward, very, very kind of straightforward, unvarnished. And I think that's the appeal of jazz and blues, is that it's not pretentious, hopefully. And it provides kind of a vehicle or a vessel for the indomitable spirit of mankind. Getting close to the camera. Close up. The indomitable spirit of mankind. I'm a little punchy today. I got it to the Chinese garden. It was such a boy. It was. Let me tell you. He's 93. His sister's 86. She's dizzy. So she's. He's in a walker. Has a walker to walk with, and so I'm holding him by his belt, so he doesn't. In case he falls, I can pull him up. But he was managing. But he's sort of like kind of falling over. And his sister's really dizzy, super dizzy, and she's holding on to me. So we have this little, conga line going into the garden, and the girl who was working at the ticket booth, she asked me. She says, "Well, what brought you here today?" And I said, "Well, I like Japanese things." And she didn't know I was joking, and she said, "Oh, well, there are some things in common, I suppose." And she looked sort of a little disturbed, and I said, "No, I'm just joking. It's okay, you know." And I said, "Okay." And then she saw me later on, and she said, "You guys having a good time? Enjoying it?" And I said, "Yeah, I feel right like I'm in Tokyo." Again, just kind of giving her a hard time. She's like, oh, you, don't, you know. And I was, I hate to say it, but Chinatown in Portland, it's a lot different than when I first moved here in 1990. I mean, it wasn't great then. It was kind of sketchy, and now it's a rough neighborhood. You know, I was hoping to find a place around the corner just to kind of go eat, and you have to step over the bodies. You know, it's pretty tragic. It's pretty tragic. There's a lot of suffering going on out in the streets. There's still a lot of human suffering. What a downer. Don't be a downer. You don't do these videos to be a downer. That's right, I don't. Okay, well then I won't. But, just kind of reliving the day, because I thought it was sort of interesting. Anyway, that was pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. Nothing super structured, just kind of rambling. There used to be a radio show in New York that my father used to listen to on WR radio called Ramblin' with Gamblin'. Well, my name's not Gamblin', although sometimes I do with these lessons, and sometimes I am rambling. So we're going to wrap it up. We're kind of out of time, but it's a pleasure as always, and thank you 4 people that always watch these videos. And we'll see you next time. So just drop me a line at thepianolesson.com or on my website, my YouTube channel. You can make a comment on the videos. And if you don't like the video, then just go on to the next one. You know, it's a big world. Okay. Signing off, and until next time. Bye-bye.